My sister stole my wedding date and then announced her engagement at my reception. You ever have someone in your life who competes with you even when you're not playing? That's my sister, Savannah. We're just a year apart, Irish twins, as my dad used to say. Grew up in the same house, wore each other's hand-me-downs, played the same sports, went to the same schools. And somehow, she always made it her mission to remind me she was better, prettier, funnier, more liked. Or at least, that's what she wanted everyone to think. My name's Haley Martin, 29, from Charlotte, North Carolina. And last fall, I was supposed to have the happiest day of my life. I was marrying Noah Bennett, the one guy who'd never given Savannah the time of day. The one guy who actually saw me, not just as Savannah's quieter sister, or the nice one, but as Haley. We'd been together for 4 years. I was the one who met him at that tiny coffee shop downtown. I was the one who made the first move. I was the one he proposed to under the string lights on my parents' deck. But somehow, that wasn't enough. Because on the night of my wedding, Savannah did something that made sure I would never forget she was there. She stole the spotlight. And she didn't even flinch. But before I tell you how she turned my wedding into her engagement party, let me tell you how this all started. 2 months before the wedding, Savannah called me up out of nowhere. We hadn't really talked since Christmas, not a fight or anything, just her usual disappearing act when things weren't about her. Hey, Hales, she chirped over the phone. So I got your wedding invite. Looks amazing. Can I bring a plus one? She said it like it was casual, but with Savannah, nothing ever was. Sure, I said. Who are you seeing? She paused. Then, you remember Matt? From that Halloween party at Jordan's place? Matt? Tall. Former baseball player. My old coworker at the architecture firm. The one who ghosted me after 2 dates back in 2019. That Matt? You're dating Matt? I asked slowly. Not officially, she said breezily. We've just been hanging out. But he said he'd love to come to your wedding. Of course he would. My wedding. My ex-situationship. Her arm candy. I didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then, okay. Yeah, that's fine. She giggled. You're the best. I didn't tell Noah. Not because I was hiding it, but because I knew he'd get protective, and I didn't want drama 2 months before the big day. But the second Savannah showed up at the rehearsal dinner, I knew I'd made a mistake. She arrived 30 minutes late, wearing a white cocktail dress so tight it looked like it had been painted on. Heads turned, and not in a good way. My mom's face froze in that smile she does when she wants to scream but is trying to stay southern. Savannah, she said. White. Really? Savannah laughed. It's Ivory. Totally different. Noah leaned over to me and whispered, she's really gonna do this all weekend, huh? I squeezed his hand. Let's just get through it. But it didn't stop there. She flirted with every groomsman. She corrected the caterer. She grabbed the mic and gave a toast that was really just a 10-minute monologue about how wild I used to be in college and how she never thought I'd settle down. But seriously, she slurred at the end, holding her wine glass like a trophy. Noah, welcome to the family. You're basically marrying me too. Hope you can handle both Martins. The room went quiet. I stared at her. She grinned. And Matt, the plus one, clapped like she just won a damn award. I should have told her to leave that night. Should have pulled her aside, set boundaries, laid down the law. But I didn't. Because I was still trying to be the good sister. The peacekeeper. The one who kept it all together, even when Savannah was actively unraveling it. And so came the wedding day. Beautiful venue in the mountains. Twinkle lights, navy suits, candles floating in mason jars, Pinterest perfection. I felt like a bride. Like the main character. Like, just maybe, this would be the one day where Savannah couldn't touch me. But I should have known. My sister doesn't like playing supporting roles. She was about to rewrite the whole damn script. Let me pause here and ask you something. Have you ever had someone in your life who just couldn't let you have your moment? The kind of person who always needs to turn the spotlight back on themselves, no matter the cost? If so, buckle up. Because next, that's when Savannah makes her move. And this story is just getting started. I always imagined walking down the aisle would feel like floating. You know, that warm, movie magic moment where the music swells, everyone's smiling, and your heart's full. And to be fair, it was beautiful. The leaves were that perfect late October gold, the kind that looks fake until you remember North Carolina actually does autumn right. I was wearing a satin gown with lace sleeves and a long train that I had somehow managed not to trip over during the rehearsal. Noah looked like something out of a bridal catalog. Navy suit, slightly messy hair, eyes only for me. The guest stood. My dad squeezed my hand, whispered, "Proud of you, kid," and we started walking. Savannah? She was in the second row, of course, wearing a deep red dress that was definitely not approved in our soft, muted tones color palette. She smirked at me as I passed her, and I made the mistake of smiling back, just for a second, thinking, maybe she really can let me have this one day. Spoiler, she could not. The ceremony was perfect. No one fainted. No one cried too loudly. Even the flower girl, my cousin's 4-year-old, made it all the way down the aisle without hurling petals like confetti. The kiss was perfect. The photos were perfect. The first dance, absolutely Pinterest-worthy. Savannah didn't cause a scene during the vows or object like some wedding-crashing rom-com villain. So I started to relax. That was my mistake. At the reception, things felt even better. We danced. We ate. People were tipsy in the best way. And when it came time to cut the cake, I was actually glowing. Noah and I stood beside the 3-tiered vanilla masterpiece. Photographer ready, guests clapping, Savannah off to the side with a wine glass in hand. I remember thinking, she's quiet. Maybe she really got it out of her system. Then the DJ said, before we cut the cake, the maid of honor has requested to say a few words. Everyone clapped. Only, my maid of honor was Zoe. And Zoe was already standing beside me, looking just as confused as I was. I turned. Savannah was walking toward the mic. In heels. And confidence. And pure, unfiltered chaos. Hi, everyone, she said, with a giggle. I know I'm not the maid of honor, but I'm the sister of the bride, and I figured, when am I gonna get a better moment than this? There were polite chuckles. I glanced at Noah. He looked nervous. I looked at Zoe. She mouthed, do you want me to taste her? I shook my head, just barely. Savannah continued, beaming. I've always said Haley sets the bar high. She's smart, loyal, never spills wine on her white jeans, and she found the perfect guy. Noah, you really are the best. He gave her a forced smile. And watching these two, it reminded me what love can be. Which is why I have something to share too. Her voice trembled. Her hand went at her chest. And then she said the words that still echo in my brain. Matt and I are engaged. You know that feeling when your ears ring and everything else goes silent? I was standing next to a literal wedding cake, holding a silver server, smiling in photographs, while my sister, my younger sister, announced her engagement to my ex-date at my wedding reception. There was a beat of dead silence. Someone coughed. Then a few claps. Scattered. Awkward. Matt, from his seat, raised his glass with a sheepish shrug like, yep, guess this is happening now. Zoe whispered, I will remove her. Say the word. I stayed still. I looked Savannah in the eyes. She was glowing, like she had just delivered the grand finale of a fireworks show. Like this had been her plan all along. Noah stepped forward first. He walked right up to the mic and said, congrats, Savannah. Beat. Now sit down. The tone wasn't angry. It wasn't loud. It was disappointed, the kind that makes the entire room collectively flinch. And she did. She actually sat down. Slowly. Quietly. But the damage was already done. Later, I found her near the bar. She was sipping a cocktail like she hadn't just hijacked the biggest moment of my life. You couldn't wait 24 hours? I asked. She shrugged. You had your spotlight. I stared at her. I still had it. She leaned in. Did you? Or did everyone just see how stiff you were all night? I was trying to give the crowd something to remember. That wasn't your moment. She smiled. You don't get to claim every moment just because you're wearing white, Hales. My voice cracked, not from sadness, but from the fury I'd been swallowing all day. You didn't want love. You wanted attention. And for once, she didn't have a comeback. Back at the dance floor, the energy had shifted. People were still smiling, but they weren't looking at me the same way. They were whispering, watching me out of the corners of their eyes. I felt like a guest at my own wedding. And Savannah? She danced with Matt all night. In her fire engine red dress. With her ring that sparkled just enough to be seen but not enough to be tasteful. She made sure people noticed. And they did. I ended the night barefoot on the back porch, champagne in hand. Zoe beside me. She's never going to stop, I said. No, Zoe agreed. But you don't have to let her take your piece. We clinked glasses. And in that moment, I decided something. I wasn't done either. You ever been pushed so far by someone close to you, someone who was supposed to love you, that you realize the only way to survive is to fight back? I do exactly that. And trust me. The rehearsal dinner speech was nothing compared to what came next. I knew I had to speak up. Fast. Before it festered. The morning after the wedding, when the leftover cake was still sitting on the sideboard and the goodbye brunch was just getting started at the hotel, I stepped out of the elevator and saw them. Savannah and Matt. Laughing. Whispering over coffee like they hadn't just hijacked my wedding reception. I walked right up without saying good morning. You two have 5 minutes, I said. Matt looked caught off guard. Haley, no. 5 minutes. After that, I go nuclear. Savannah sipped her latte, raised an eyebrow. Wow. Dramatic much? Dramatic? You announced your engagement in the middle of my wedding. It was one sentence. A small thing. You waited until the cake cutting. You knew what you were doing. She rolled her eyes. You always think everything is about you. And you make sure everything turns into something about you. We went on 2 dates, Haley. 4 years ago. And that makes it okay to parade him around at my wedding and steal the mic during a major moment? I was sharing good news. No. You were performing. Matt tried to cut in. Can we just not do this right here? I turned to him. Oh, don't worry, Matt. I've got plenty of things to say to you too. He blinked. What did I do? You stood there while she made a mockery of the biggest day of my life. You smiled. You clapped. I was surprised too, but you didn't stop her. Savannah stepped in. Don't drag him into this. He's already in it, save. You dragged him into our mess the second you decided he was your prop. She stiffened. He's not a prop. You wanted attention. You wanted eyes on you. You couldn't stand that I was having a moment that wasn't about you. Admit it. She paused. Just for a second. Then, you've always been so self-righteous. Ever since we were kids. You act like being quiet makes you better. No. I act like being decent matters. You think saying what you want, when you want, with zero care for anyone else, makes you real. But it just makes you exhausting. Matt awkwardly shifted behind her. I think I'll get another coffee. Sit down, Savannah snapped. This involves you too. He looked at her, then at me. Do you even love her? I asked him. His eyes widened. Excuse me. Do you love her? Or do you like the drama? The spotlight. I love her, he said. But this is a lot. Savannah's head whipped toward him. Excuse me. He backpedaled. I just meant, this whole thing. Maybe we rushed into it. Wow, I said. Just wow. A few minutes later, my parents pulled us into a side room near the fireplace. Mom looked like she was trying not to scream. Dad held his coffee like it was a stress ball. Girls, Mom began, we need to talk. Now. Great, I said. Let's talk about how my sister made my wedding about her. Haley, don't turn this into a war, Dad warned. Oh, I didn't start the war, I said. I just didn't ignore the attack. Savannah crossed her arms. It was one moment. One calculated moment, I snapped. During the cake cutting. When you saw cameras and decided, hey, what if I turn this into my engagement party? Girls, Mom said through her teeth, this is not the time. When is the time? I asked. At her bridal shower? Should I expect a baby announcement next? Dad's eyes widened. You better be joking, he said. I stared at Savannah. Am I? She looked nervous. It's not confirmed. We're just hopeful. I laughed. No way. You don't get to do that. You don't get to detonate a bomb at my wedding and then toss out a maybe baby like it's no big deal. Savannah threw her hands up. You're twisting everything. I thought it would be sweet. No, I said. You thought it would be a power move. And you thought no one would call you out. Matt walked in just then, like the tension had summoned him. Everything okay? No, I said. But maybe you can clear some things up. He looked at me like I was holding a detonator. Are you really in this? I asked him. With her? Or do you just like being on the stage? I didn't know she'd say anything, he said. But yeah, I care about her. I just didn't sign up for this. Savannah's head snapped toward him. This. He shrugged. All of it. The drama. The weird timing. I'm not sure we're on the same page. That hit her like a slap. And for once, she didn't say anything. I stood. You want me at your wedding, Savannah? You want me to support you, celebrate you? Then prove you can be something other than a walking spotlight thief. She stood too. I'm sorry. I stopped. What? I'm sorry. I messed up. I didn't think it would land like that. That's the problem, I said. You don't think. You act. She nodded once. I'll fix it. No, I said. I'll fix it. But not for you. For me. On my way out, I turned to my parents. You always told us to stick together. You got your wish. You finally saw what it looks like when we're real with each other. Then I left the room. Sometimes setting a boundary means breaking the pattern. And sometimes it means finally standing up and not sitting back down. It's my turn. Because Savannah may have stolen the mic. But I'm about to take the spotlight back. And I'm not being quiet about it. 2 months after my wedding, an invitation arrived in the mail. Cream envelope. Gold lettering. Savannah and Matt's engagement party. It was being held at a country club just outside Raleigh, hosted by Savannah herself, with all the flair of a royal coronation. I stared at the RSVP card for a solid 10 minutes. Zoe, on FaceTime, sipped her iced coffee and said exactly what I was thinking. So, you going? I smirked. Oh, I'm going. But I'm not going quiet. Here's the thing about Savannah. She always assumed I wouldn't fight back. that ID sulk, maybe post something passive-aggressive, then move on. But this time, I wanted her to know exactly what it felt like to be blindsided. So I made a plan. No shouting. No drama in heels. Just truth, served cold, right in front of her curated little guest list. The night of the party, Zoe and I arrived 5 minutes late, just enough to make an entrance. I wore white. Not because I forgot. Because I wanted her to feel what I felt at my wedding, that sharp little sting of this is supposed to be my moment. Savannah saw me from across the room and immediately stiffened. She didn't come over. Just locked eyes and did that fake smile you give someone who might ruin your night. Matt was at her side, looking tired. There were string lights overhead, live acoustic music, and a catered buffet that probably cost more than my entire honeymoon. And in the middle of it all, a podium. With a mic rookie mistake. Midway through the evening, Savannah tapped her champagne glass. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Matt and I are beyond thrilled to celebrate our future together with all of you. Polite applause. She continued, it's been a whirlwind, but when you know, you know. She gestured toward Matt, who gave a tight-lipped smile. Then, unbelievably, she added, and a big thank you to my sister Haley, who taught me how to be brave enough to take a risk on love, even if it wasn't always easy. Everyone turned toward me. I raised my glass, then slowly stood up. Mind if I say something? You could feel the tension ripple through the room. She blinked. Sure. I walked to the mic, smiled. Hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Haley, Savannah's older sister, and the bride whose wedding she used to announce this engagement. Murmurs. Aunt Patty gasped. Loudly. Savannah looked like she wanted to teleport out of her skin. I continued, calm and clear. I wasn't going to come tonight. But then I thought, no, I should show up. Because that's what sisters do, right? Savannah opened her mouth, but I kept going. I watched Savannah steal the mic at my wedding and make the moment about her. I said nothing. I watched her wear red to an all-neutral event. Said nothing. She brought my ex as a date. Still, I smiled. People shifted. The energy changed. But tonight, I'm not staying silent. Matt looked down at his shoes. Savannah, I said, turning to her, you've spent your whole life trying to outshine me. And for what? To prove you could. She looked stunned. I hope you're happy. Truly. Because this thing you've built on one-upping, on attention, it's not love. And if it is, it's a version I wouldn't wish on anyone. I set the mic down and walked back to my table. Silence. Then Zoe clapped. Then a few cousins. Then, incredibly, my dad. Savannah stood frozen at the front of the room, champagne still in hand, face burning red. Matt muttered something and walked off toward the bathroom. And I finally felt peace. Afterward, by the bar, Melissa, yes, that Melissa, our cousin who once said I was too quiet to be interesting, leaned in and whispered, that was badass. Savannah didn't come talk to me that night. She didn't call the next day. But 3 days later, I got a text. You made your point. Congrats. No apology. No ownership. Just Savannah, still trying to save face. I didn't reply. Some chapters deserve a full stop, not a reply bubble. You ever had someone steal your voice, your moment, your joy? You ever wanted to take it back, but weren't sure you had it in you? Let me tell you something. You do. And when you finally stop being the quiet one, the polite one, the peacemaker, people listen. The fallout begins. Because not everyone in that room saw Savannah the same way after that night, and someone close to her starts asking questions she doesn't want to answer. We're almost to the finish line, and it's going to be glorious. I thought the engagement party was the end. You know, mic drop, walk away, sip wine while watching the fallout from a safe distance. But as it turns out, it was just the spark. Because 3 days later, my phone lit up with a name I didn't expect to see. Matt. At first, I just stared at it. Zoe, sitting across from me at our favorite coffee spot, raised an eyebrow. Answer it. I don't know if I want to. Girl, you need to. So I did. Hey, Matt said. His voice was low, tense. Do you have a minute? Barely. There was a pause. I needed to say something. That night, what you said. You weren't wrong. I stayed silent. I didn't know how much she twisted things until after. Until after what? She told me your speech was planned sabotage. That you've been jealous since college. That you always try to ruin her happiness. But the more she talked, another pause. The more it sounded like projection. I almost laughed. Welcome to my childhood, I said. He let out a dry chuckle. Haley, were you and I ever serious? Define serious, I said. I mean, did I mess something up by being with her? I paused. No, you didn't owe me anything. But Savannah did. Silence. She's not who I thought, he admitted. She's a lot. No kidding. He took a breath. I don't know if I'm still getting married. I blinked. Well, that's not something I expected to hear today. After the call, I sat there for a long time. Zoe finally broke the silence. Well, he might be backing out. She nearly dropped her latte. No way. I nodded. He said she's not who he thought she was. Zoe grinned. Told you the house of cards would fall. The next week, things got messy. Savannah started calling mutual friends, claiming I was trying to break them up, that I was obsessed, that I'd gone off the rails since the wedding. I ignored it. Until one of her old friends, Becca, who hadn't spoken to me in years, messaged me on Instagram. Hey, weird question. Did Savannah ever lie about you in high school? I replied, constantly. Why? Becca sent back a paragraph that nearly made me drop my phone. Apparently, Savannah had told people for years that I was the one who tried to steal her boyfriends, that I'd been clingy with Matt when we worked together, that I'd spread rumors when she got into college. None of it was true. And now? Becca said she was done staying quiet. You're not the first person she's tried to sabotage. You're just the first one who said something back. 2 days later, Matt posted a photo. Solo. No ring. Caption. Sometimes, love isn't enough when the truth is missing. Comment section. Savannah disabled it. I didn't reach out. I didn't send a follow-up or a smug text. But one night, my phone buzzed again. A message from Savannah. You happy now? I stared at the screen. Typed. Deleted. Typed again. Then finally wrote. No, I was never happy about any of this. I just stopped pretending it didn't hurt. She didn't reply. You ever stand up for yourself and think, maybe now things will be better? Maybe they'll change? And then realize they won't. Because some people don't want peace. They want power. But here's what they forget. When you stop being afraid of losing them, they lose all control. The last time I saw my sister face to face, there were no cameras, no champagne flutes, no centerpieces or curated guest lists. Just a park bench, 2 worn-out sisters, and years of resentment between us. She texted me out of the blue. Can we talk? And against my better judgment, I said yes. We met at the park near where we used to ride bikes as kids. She sat down first. I stayed standing. Savannah looked thinner, paler. She'd lost the ring. Her usual confidence? Gone. Matt's gone, she said. I figured. She looked up at me. You happy now? Don't do that. Do what? Try to blame me for your mess. You humiliated me. Twice. No, I said calmly. I told the truth. Once. She scoffed. I sat down. I didn't ruin your engagement. You did that by lying. By using people. She didn't respond. You don't want love, I continued. You want worship. And the second someone stops clapping for you, you fall apart. I loved him, she whispered. I believe you. But you loved winning more. Silence stretched between us. Then she looked up. They're rewriting the will. I frowned. Who? Mom and Dad. My heart stopped. What? They told me last week. They're leaving everything to me. Said you changed after the wedding. Later that night, I drove straight to my parents' house. Mom opened the door, surprised. Dad stood behind her, arms crossed. We need to talk, I said. The kitchen was too quiet. No coffee brewing. No casserole in the oven. Just tension. So, I began. You're cutting me out of the will. Mom flinched. It's not like that. Dad didn't speak. It's exactly like that, I said. And I want to hear it from you. Mom sighed. Savannah, she needs more help. She's younger. Not helpless. She's going through a hard time. And I didn't. I snapped. She sabotaged my wedding. Lied to my friends. Took my old date. Turned him into a fiancé. And then tried to make me the villain. Dad spoke at last. You didn't have to humiliate her. I blinked. I had to. Because no one else ever did. Mom stood. She's struggling, Haley. She's alone. So am I. I shouted. But I didn't manipulate everyone into making me the center of the universe. They stared at me. Tell me something, I said. If I had done what she did, would you have still taken her side? They didn't answer. That was the answer. 2 weeks later, the lawyer called to confirm it. Everything was going to Savannah. The house. The family lake cabin. Mom's jewelry. Dad's coin collection. Everything. I didn't cry. I just packed a box of their old photos, mailed it to them, and left a note. Since family clearly means something different to each of us, here's your version back. Months passed. They didn't call. Neither did Savannah. And then, I heard from my aunt. Your parents sold the house. Moved to a small town in the mountains. Downsized everything. I nodded. Good for them. They're alone now, she added. And it's not what they thought it would be. I heard bits and pieces over time. Savannah stayed with them briefly, then left. Again, they never admitted they were wrong. Never reached out. But my aunt told me one thing that stuck. They keep your graduation photo on the mantle, she said. Still? I asked. She nodded. They act like nothing's changed. Like they're waiting for time to fix it. But time doesn't fix what pride refuses to admit. They gave everything to the daughter who needed rescuing, and lost the one who would have stayed. Now I live in a small home of my own. Peaceful, bright, chosen. Zoe and I host dinner every month, found family, friends, the kind who show up and mean it. And sometimes, when I'm sipping coffee on a quiet Sunday, I wonder if they miss me. If Savannah ever sits in her fancy apartment and realizes all that glitter she chased left her cold. If my parents ever sit in that small mountain house and finally see what they raised and what they lost. But they've never said sorry, and I've stopped waiting. So now I want to ask you, what would you have done if your sister tried to humiliate you? If your parents called you heartless? If your family chose silence over truth? Would you forgive them? Or would you do what I did and close the door for good? Let me know in the comments. And if you've ever had to walk away from people who were supposed to love you. Share your story. Because sometimes, peace isn't quiet. It's the sound of finally being free.